Part 4 of my series on Ghislaine Maxwell. According to reports, by 1994, Ghislaine Maxwell was fully helping Jeffrey Epstein in recruiting women, some as young as 14. I'm going to put a trigger warning on this segment. I am going to allude to some things in relation to his crimes. I won't say any of them explicitly because I don't want to break community guidelines. One of the main victims in the case against Ghislaine Maxwell is a woman named Annie Farmer, who has been very public, unlike some of the victims who have been private citizens. And Annie Farmer's sister, Maria Farmer, was a receptionist at Jeffrey Epstein's home. This is her at her prom. She was 16 and Jeffrey Epstein called her to talk to her that night. You might be wondering how Annie Farmer connected with Epstein when her sister was 25 years old and a receptionist at his house. That's where Ghislaine came in. She one day asked her receptionist, Maria, about her family, and Maria went on to talk about how much she loved her sister Annie and how Annie was 16 and starting to look at colleges. And Ghislaine, under the guise of being helpful, said to Maria, "Oh my gosh, well, why don't you have Annie talk to Jeffrey? We can help her with college." And Jeffrey, sure enough, called Maria's mother and arranged for Annie to go to the New Mexico compound with he and Ghislaine, and told the mom that she was going to be meeting with a bunch of other bright students. The mother asked who was going to be chaperoning, and Jeffrey Epstein told her Ghislaine was going to be there to chaperone, which just goes to show you how she was so involved in getting the trust of these women. They get to the New Mexico compound and there's no other students there, and Annie's confused, but then Ghislaine takes her out shopping and makes her feel, like she's very comfortable and has girl time with her. She said that they were really good at pushing boundaries and getting her to do things even when she felt uneasy. They all went to the movies together, and Ghislaine and Epstein were pretending to pull each other's pants down, which made her uncomfortable. And then at the movie, he put his hand on her leg and was trying to hold her hand right in front of Ghislaine, so she was confused because they were in a relationship. And Annie was isolated at 16 years old at this compound in New Mexico and had no way of communicating with people. This wasn't the day of iPhones. I won't go into detail about New Mexico because of community guidelines, but what I will say is Annie, to this day, feels, and I believe too, that Ghislaine earned women's trust for Jeffrey to help him get what he wanted and commit these awful crimes. She said they worked as a team, and Ghislaine was the puppeteer that organized everything. She ended up accepting money from his victims fund, which forced her to drop the lawsuits, but was able to go after Ghislaine in court very recently. Ghislaine's been charged with 5 of the 6 charges that were brought up against her, so she's not getting out of jail ever. Anyway, I'll go more into her family and her siblings in the next part because they still very much support and believe her.